Yes. So, hi guys. We should be on live now. I will just make sure that we are on live because, yay, we are on live. So, welcome all caffeine quitters and other people out there. This is Anni here and my sweet friend Mandy from Texas.
Hello.
And the reason that we are now maybe a little bit late, even I did do that my own test live a little bit earlier today, and I say that soon I will be live with Mandy, but you know we have so much struggles today with these computers, but we did make it through. So here we are, and we are here here we are, and we are giving you update about my journey and Mandy's journey, where we at, and a little comparison, like about our journey. So please welcome, and I will also open the chat so you can also join there. So please.
Oh yeah, so let me put up the chat too so I can see it.
So yeah, I was just thinking that we first go with our own updates, like I tell you how I'm feeling now. Next week will be 5 years caffeine-free for me. And Mandy is coming 2 months behind. So right in the corner, you are too coming there. Yeah. And then we can also, like Mandy will tell your journey, your updates, and then we can sum up important things that we want to say about this journey. Like we kind of want to put all things kind of in together in this live nutshell.
Yeah. I think this is one of the most, so many of our videos are so important when people are trying, or not trying, but when people are recovering. And I just feel like this is one of the most important videos.
Yes.
That we've made thus far.
This is definitely the most important videos for us this far, because this shows really so many factors that for many people it just takes time. So maybe I will just go first. I have here my update. So I'm back to normal. I'm back to Anni. I'm back to myself. No kinks, no tricks. Withdrawals are over. I will say now the positives that I have like now. So my sleep is good. I sleep very well. I will go later, like I will go earlier in the bed, just normally get tired, and then when I wake up I have good energy. So I don't have any brain fog or any blahness anymore. I don't have depression. My fatigue is gone. I now can work out without feeling weird or bad. My anxiety is gone. I have very good digestion, the best I ever had now. My motivation and creative thinking is very good, and that is even improving. And then also I can now wake up like very early, and it's very weird, like just wake up with like 7 and be like, okay, ready to go. That's first was really, really weird, I can tell you.
Yeah.
Because I was so tired. Like my latest like long-lasting symptoms definitely were depression, blahness, and low energy and brain fog. Definitely on and off, on and off. Like we always say, kinks, on and off. Mm-hmm. So also, what still gets better is my memory. So my memory and my old behaviors are still rewiring. And we're gonna do a whole new live about the old behaviors rewiring with Mandy in some point, because that's kind of the after the post-acute withdrawals are gone, some people still can have these old behaviors that you may have when you were in addiction, and then you're gonna start to rewire those too. And that's also it's a rewiring, but that's not kind of the point. You don't have anxiety anymore when that happens. Right, like you are functional, you can have energy, you can really start to work on them, but it means that there is still things that you maybe noticed that what you were doing in addiction, how you were behaving in addiction. So that's also, and then I'm not triggered how I used to was, like when the stress hits me. That's really good benefit. Like because before, like I was still like kind of affected with the stress, but now if the stress hits me, I'm able to just be more calm. My skin feels softer. I don't have inflammation feeling. My eyes doesn't feel tired or heavy anymore. That was also one of the long-lasting symptoms, that my eyes were always a little bit tired. My posture is starting to change, and also what is now important to understand this my 5 years journey, that it was a roller coaster. So it wasn't like hell all the time. Like, it was ups and downs.
Yes.
And I had those two very bad states. Like, the first 9 months for me was really like, I cannot even go there. It was like a mess up. And then after the 9 months, I started to very slowly get better. And then I had that tsunami wave in my 35 months. And all that, and between those was just lots of ups and downs, but I was never normal until now. So yes, now finally for your questions, because you always ask, Anni, do you still have pause? No, I don't have pause anymore. I'm recovered. And then also I put like between the 4 and 5 years what I had, like, because I know some of you are just there about 4 years, you still have symptoms, you have messaged me, and some of you are over 3 years still symptoms. So between 4 and 5 years, I still had the mild blahness, mild depression. I have those kinks around my period cycle, meaning depression and some low energy. I also have this emotional kind of trauma releasing happening. Then I also have some neck tension and pains on and off. I have detox still, and sometimes in between 4 and 5 years, I had still diarrhea and some stomach stuff, but those were very milder, like still.
You had, not have. You had,
yeah,
right?
yeah, I had. Yeah, I had. Sorry.
That's such an important word when we're in recovery. Like, wait a minute.
Not anymore.
She said she still has.
No, I don't have anything anymore. But I had between 4 to 5. So remember that. And then my dopamine was still up and down. Like, you can just feel when your dopamine starts to, when you have more dopamine, your pain will go down, your energy will go up. So when your dopamine really rewires back, you will have yourself back, kind of. Even it's all the neurotransmitters, but like, we have been speaking so much about dopamine because that's so important point of view in this addiction. So then I just have been like, and this is also, I had that 1 week wave depression in the end, and then after that I was just normal. And then I don't know, it's just improving up till now.
Yeah, and I was there watching it all, and then it was like a 5-year, well, almost 5-year, because you're not there till next week. But
yeah,
it was
next
like
week.
A light switch.
Yes,
it was just a light switch that was like, okay, it was a 5-year light switch, but it was really like just like you were different. I mean, you've just been so.
It's crazy, and you can, and it's so crazy because we have been doing these updates with you. But if you have even 5% of anxiety left, you don't know how you feel in the other side. You don't know. You don't know. You don't know. When you get there, you know.
And that's why we're doing this comparison video. That's why this video is so cool, because you are now on that other side. And I am still in that 5% still left. And it's.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. And that was like my short update. And now, Mandy, you can go, and then we can put some up together and take you. And hi all in the chat. There is Care. Mandy is there. Jaakko is there. Suhail is there. Okay. Yes.
I'm here.
You are here too. So
hello, everybody.
Go ahead, Mandy.
That was really good, Anni, and I can just listening to you, and you seem so organized, and I saw you have your notes. And I had some notes on my phone. I'm just gonna wing it like I do, and because I can just see, like, I see you being on the other side now, and you're more organized, and you talk very clearly, and you know exactly what you want to say. And I'm just still kind of like, whatever pops in my head, I'm gonna talk about. And all the symptoms you talked about, I have experienced. And still around those kinky moments, my kinks, I have it, around ovulation for women, period. Even like last night, I had, and I'll tell you this, because this is so important for someone watching and they're like, what do you mean you still have symptoms?
Mm-hmm.
And I am 4 years, I'll be 4 years, 10 months on the 25th. So in a couple weeks. And it's like, so I just want to preface that just because I'm saying my kinks, I like today, like right now in this moment, I mean, I feel like I look less inflamed. I just feel better than I felt when I have my, when I feel better when than I feel when I have my kinks.
Yeah.
In this moment, I feel probably the best I have ever felt, but still knowing that it's going to even get so much better because I've only ever known mild and moderate anxiety since I was like 10, 12,
Yes.
and I'm 30. I'm 46 years old. So that so many years of just mild and moderate, my nervous system always being in some type of state of, and then just consuming so much caffeine, so much alcohol, up and down. So I will say in this moment, I feel the best I've ever felt.
Yes.
But the whole point is I still have my kinks. And so so I'm in a place, some women know this, definitely men probably don't, but in a place where our progesterone peaks around day 18 to 21ish. And I could feel it last night. Like I was stayed up late watching TV because sometimes not late, but like 11:30, and I start to feel it. Like my body really wants me to go to bed.
Mm-hmm.
But I push it, I stay up. And then I did go to bed and I was lying there and my feet were kind of burning. Not bad, but just annoying for me, thinking like, I'm at 4 years, almost 10 months. Why is this happening? I get frustrated
Mm.
and then I just have to try to calm myself down. I had my husband give me a little massage, even though I wanted a longer one, but he still did it and it helped. So it is tension. Um, I think it is a little bit hormone related for me still, but when we
Yes.
still have a little bit of anxiety, even the hormones are off until they're not.
Yes.
But I don't think that I'm going to keep having hormone issues because I still have anxiety, like a little bit.
Yes.
And that's so important to say. That's okay for me to say that when for so long I didn't want to say that's what it is. It's like, oh, I'm still healing. I'm still doing better. But when people say they're doing better, yeah, you're better, but you still have a little bit of anxiety, even maybe, but you're functional. Like I'm functional. I drive and I do all the things, but
Yes.
I'm not consuming any substances to relieve what I had last night. And that's another huge thing, too.
Yes.
That, yeah, like what I felt last night was my body wanted relief.
Yeah.
Like I could feel it. Like I could feel like I wanted to take some type of pill or some type of
Yeah.
something to relieve what I was feeling. And I'll get into more of the resistance stuff
Yes.
because I know I'm kind of going on and on. But as I was lying there, my husband gave me the massage. Then I wanted a longer massage, and then he left, and I felt like an old wound came up that, oh, I would have given him a lot longer. I would have put my arms around him. You're okay, and hugged him. Well, that's not his personality. But I still felt like that old wound, and that's what you were talking about, Ani. That we're going to make a video about that.
Yeah.
A lot of that does still come up for me. It has been, and I think it will continue to, even when I'm on the other side of the
Yeah.
anxiety. But it's kind of I'm good about working through it now, and knowing
Yes.
that like he has his own childhood wounds, I have mine. So I feel like he doesn't. I don't think he sees it as he's doing anything wrong, but I see it as like abandonment or like he can't fill up my cup, and it's like I think the more we recover, the more we fill up our own cup and become whole, and that's what's really really cool because we get so recovered that we don't need anything or anybody. We're so full, but having other people and other things just help, elevate our life, but we don't need it like maybe before. And everybody's different like that.
Yeah.
We all have our own different wounds. And so as he went downstairs, so what I did, I just cried myself to sleep. I cried it out. So that was like the release.
Yes.
I cried for probably like 5 or 7 minutes. And then I prayed. And I swear, every time I pray, God does something. I fall asleep. It's so beautiful. Like I just started praying, and I rolled over on my side, and I woke up. And it was probably
Amen.
like 11:30. I woke up at 7:30. Like I slept all the way through,
Yeah.
and Yeah. So I'll just. Well, do you want to say anything?
Yeah, I also have here in my computer a list about the symptoms. If I get this open, I think we could, because there is so many, and this is so important. So hear me out. I know that probably many of the watchers can think that's so crazy how it can take 5 years. But listen up, there is others too who have the same timeline. So this is really important update because so many people when they get to 2 years, they start to message in groups like I still have a low motivation. I feel a little bit down. I don't have that amazing energy. I maybe have some identical crisis. No, you don't. If you have been messing up your system with this drug, and if you are completely free from all mind-altering drugs, that we are always saying that's the key for the full recovery. If you're still chipping something, take some pills, take something, popping some pills or medication, I don't know about your journey, then it can be different. It's not that it's your journey, of course, whatever you're taking. But if you are free from all mind-altering drugs, and you were like falling off the mountain like we did, and you have that high anxiety journey, you still can have symptoms up till symptoms and all anxiety is gone. And that can take a while, and that's normal. That's very normal.
Very. We're living it. Well, here's an analogy for exactly what you just said. There's a few of them, but I like the one, if it takes a cake 45 minutes to bake, you don't take it out of the oven at 40 minutes. It's not done.
Yes.
And that's exactly how I look at it, how we look at it.
Yes.
It takes the 45 minutes. This is a scheduled process. It takes I don't know how. I have done so much research and so much about, I'm in neuroscience and all that. Not really, but I really don't know how it works, but it just takes, we all say it takes time. We just don't know how much time. And we're not all here to say, because I'm not on the other side yet, but for you, it was 5. And for another friend of mine, it was 5. And for another friend of mine, it was 5. They are completely free. Well, one of them does consume a little chocolate off and on, but that's interesting too, because their anxiety timeline took up to 5 years. And then they had, and all 3 who I'm talking about had that last kind of like somewhere in a week's time frame, another wave, and then boom, it never again. Like never.
Can you now, like Mandy, see my symptom list in the window?
No. I think that would come up later on the YouTube. I don't ever see when you put like a video or a list up.
Let's see that I can see that, because I want to show it to you. That
maybe somebody in the chat would see it.
Yes, they will see in that YouTube. So we're gonna just go these symptoms. I'm sure that Mandy have the same, because you just ask about so much. So these are all my symptoms that I went through, and Mandy, probably you too, and these all are gone. So my caffeine withdrawal symptoms and post-acute withdrawal symptoms. So migraine and headaches, severe headaches, blurry vision, eye itching, bad vision, facial pain, feeling like your head is heavy or full, brain fog and brain chaps, difficulty finding words. Beginning, it was really difficult. I couldn't make videos like many months. Feeling like your brain is stuck or overactive, lack of concentration, feeling like there is sand in your head, smashed potato head feeling. I learned that from Mandy, that word. I didn't even know what was smashed potato. Memory problems. Okay, stomach issues, constipation, diarrhea, acid reflux, stomach pain, bloating, cravings for sugar. This is also underneath that, because I think it was included to stomach. Okay, then heart and circulatory system. Heart palpitation, feeling like you're having a heart attack. Cold fingers or feet. Pins and needle sensations. Electrical feelings inside the body. Weakness. Tremoring. Nice drug, this caffeine, guys. Heavy arms and legs. Sorry.
Yay, nervous system.
Yay. Skin and physical sensation. Skin rashes. Neck pain. Restless legs. Akathisia. Jelly legs. Then sleep and energy. Insomnia. Night wakening. Tiredness and fatigue. Feeling disconnected and fatigued after exercise. Lack of motivation. Feeling off. Extreme cold or hot sensation throughout the body. Thirstiness all the time. 10. Mental health and cognitive function. Feeling not like yourself or lacking your identity. Vivid dreams and nightmares. Suicidal thoughts. Depersonalization and derealization. Intrusive thoughts. Constant worrying and racing mind. Intense anxiety and depression. Morning anxiety and panic attacks. Anhedonia, lack of joy or happiness. Overly sensitive to stress. Overstressed with any activity. Panic attacks. I'm laughing now, but you know people.
And I'm tearing up because what? Like,
yeah, people who go through
going
this
down memory lane.
This will forget, but my heart goes out with you guys.
And
always.
I just want to say really quickly, like where I'm at right now, most of that, like 98% of those are just not there anymore for me.
Yes, God bless that. Difficult focusing or controlling your mind. Emotional extremes or numbness. Hopelessness. Reproductive health. Hard periods. Anxiety all the time. Severe symptoms during ovulation. Cramps. Then other flu-like symptoms, coughing and mucus, sore throat, detox symptoms, temperatures changes, peeing all the time, nighttime peeing. So there you go.
Teeth, even teeth stuff.
Yeah, there
you go.
Yeah, and I have to say that these were the most symptoms that I know how to put in words, but then there are all kind of pain aches that
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
So all gone. Wow, what a ride.
How emotional. Wow.
What a ride. But before I let you to get the state again, Mandy, I just want to say all of you guys, we have been helping hundreds of people. I don't even know how many emails, Discord messages, all kind of message, Instagram message I have get. So many people are in this caffeine-free journey, having withdrawals, post-acute withdrawals. Some of you don't have high anxiety, some of you have. Some of you have some of these symptoms, some of you have all of these. Some of you have easier journey, some of you have really hard the same journey. But anyway, the solution is same. When you stay free, when you continue the journey, you get the other side.
So true.
And like that's our biggest like smile for me and Mandy when we hear from you that you made it through and you just keep going. Even if you don't make it through like right away, you relapse or whatever happens, we are here in these videos. You can watch our videos even we are not here maybe anymore, but you can always continue watch our videos. So
yeah, if we're not making videos, if we're out living our beautiful life and just so busy catching up, playing catch up. So many people talk about that. It's like they're playing catch up.
Yeah.
And everyone's different too. And the fact that I love that. Were you done? Did you want me to start talking?
Yeah, Tuula, thank you. Tuula said thank you all these supporters. Yes, thank you, Tuula. Thank you for you always being here and appreciate a lot commenting that you comment.
Yes. I kind of forget what I was. It's just time, you know. It's like, oh yeah, I know what I was going to say. It's so different. So, for example, a lot of what is going on with the post-acute withdrawal is from dopamine dysregulation and from the drug itself.
Yes.
But where I've been for a while is talking about the wounds, because that is where it started. I mean, that is where mild and moderate fears and anxieties and things, but you're still functional, you know, you're still living your life, but you're not connected to yourself because it changes. You adapt to a different way to survive.
Yes.
Then most of us start consuming Cokes and chocolate as a kid.
Yep.
In the form of caffeine. And, you know, then we get rewired from that. But I just think it's important to talk about that, if the reason why it can seem different for everybody, obviously, and that's what we say, like there's so many different factors, and that has a lot to do with it, the way that we were raised and the wounds and the void feelings, and you know, that's why I was talking about filling up our own cup.
Yep.
And as long as we're free from the substances, we learn, it forces us to learn how to do it. It's like your body just can't. The drugs did mask that. Yeah, when people say, "Oh, drugs mask," blah blah blah, it suppresses,
Yes.
but it doesn't cause. It just helps things stay stuck, but it does cause its own anxiety and things. But you didn't just have it because you were born that way.
Yeah.
That's what's important, because I think when people were talking about it in different groups, that like, oh, you just quit the caffeine or the drug and then all your problems just came to the surface. Well, that is true in a way, but you aren't born that way though. And
Yeah.
I think the further and further you go along with this, you start to the more your body feels safe, you start to understand that it's not that you just had anxiety and depression because you were broken.
Yeah.
The drug caused it itself, but there probably were stressors for some people. That's why
Yes.
it can look different for
Mhm.
everybody from childhood, and not, it's really a big problem when a child does not feel seen or heard, and that
Yes.
can really mess with your nervous system. But
Yes.
then we start consuming the chocolate, the cokes, and then that causes more nervous system dysregulation because it is a nervous system stimulant.
Yes.
Alcohol, nervous system depressant. So it does mess with the body and brain as well. But I think it's important to address the deeper wounds from childhood. And that's where we are now. So our bodies feel safer now. And it's all about that safety. And then the wounds resurface because it feels safe. I think that's so
Yeah.
beautiful. And then we have to deal with it. So then there's the resistance, which is what we'll talk about. I don't want to forget about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, and I also want to say that now, like, post-acute withdrawals are post-acute withdrawals. Those symptoms that I did show
Right.
you, they are all gone. So that can last itself 5 years. That's nothing to do with just trauma and any that itself. There are, Mandy,
Yeah.
you know people who have had
Or
same timeline. I had one phone call with one person, I don't say the name, that I was 3.5 years. He said, he was a guy, he said he was very confident at the time, called me, say, Anni, you did make a YouTube video that you are healed. You are not healed. You are not even close. He was really like, really like, I don't know, confident. And yeah, I knew that I
yeah,
wasn't like healed in deep inside. I was better. Yeah, I was better, but I didn't
completely.
know. Yeah, but I didn't know what was my journey gonna be. And he said me that how long this takes, and I was like, okay. I was a little bit, I just wanted to know more. I wasn't like, okay, no, because I'm always wanting to learn, and I know how heavy drug caffeine is. I have studied just about caffeine now already about 4 years straight pretty much, and helped people. So I don't, if somebody wants to argue with me with caffeine, I don't go in that road, because like I know the
Every
facts, and that's not the road where I go. Everybody can have
yeah,
their coffees. You can drink
yeah.
whatever you want.
Everyone has their opinion.
Yeah, but there is also the truth about this addiction, that your brain will start to, like when you start to rewiring yourself, your brain can many times try to put you back on the drug. Even you wouldn't crave the
Yeah,
drug. It can be the blahness, it can be the mild depression, what you maybe have left. It can be some pains, some physical kinks. That's all your brain rewiring still. And that's when you are not feeling your best yet. It's when you may relapse if you don't have this information that it can take time before the dopamine system fully rewires itself back to balance. And depending on the person, how long it's lasts. I don't know your timeline. But like me and Mandy, we are here to also support those who have this long timeline. That is
yeah.
like also
It
very
can
important.
happen.
Yeah, it can happen.
Yeah,
And
doesn't happen to everybody.
and then now, when the pause is come, like Mandy, you said, we like I had also like the very unsafety childhood in a way. I had good childhood too, but in a way there was some
Right.
things lacking, because trauma is not always what happened. It's not anyway what happened. It's kind of sign on the nervous system. It's not what happened. It's sign on the nervous system. But trauma can also be what you did lack. So if you didn't have maybe like safe environment as a kid, a loving environment, your nervous system will readapt with that. So now, after pause and anxiety is gone, we can start to feel safe because our nervous system is so much healthier state. and then the childhood trauma and stuff can also start to rise up. So that's
which is so important to know all that information, because then, you know, there's that gray area that we talk about that is, you know, keeps relapse. That can happen with relapse.
yeah.
Keeps relapse. What's the word I'm looking for? But this stage 2, after you're healed from the anxiety, then that can cause relapse because it feels very familiar to the pain that that the lack of, when you know, those wounds from childhood. But um I read, and it feels like, and it makes sense to me, that neglect, that's what we're basically talking about. There's different forms of neglect. Like, oh yeah, we had a roof over our head, we had food, and I do have good memories of my childhood, but there was emotional neglect.
Yes.
And I've read that emotional neglect, that wound can almost feel worse than if you were beaten. Now, and I say that very light. I say that with a tender heart, because I experienced physical abuse from one of my caregivers, and I experienced neglect from the other one.
Yes.
And this is something we can talk more about in the wound video.
Yeah.
I
Yes,
just kind of want to
definitely.
briefly talk about it. It's
Yeah.
what's coming up for me.
Of course, of course. Yeah.
I just think it's so important, because the more physical abuse, it almost feels like love, if in a way, like as a child, as you're growing, of course, it's still causing problems. And as you grow, you know, and you've got, you know, for example, the one caregiver that did more of the physical abuse, and I didn't get punched in the face. You know, I'll say it. I got chased around the yard with a horsewhip in front of my friends because I wasn't feeding the animals properly, and then he would catch me and he'd whip me.
Oh.
I said he, so you know who.
Yeah.
I'm trying not to, because I don't want our parents. I believe they have their own wounds.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to blame.
Yeah, same.
But I am trying to be.
Yeah, same.
Mm. Yeah, I'm trying to be somewhat discreet about it, but but that's so interesting, because that physical abuse feels like attention, you know, in some way, right? It can feel kind of, for me, it was.
Yes.
Even though I knew it was some type of weird behavior. But the other caregiver never did anything like that, but there was more neglect.
Yes.
And so it was very subtle. That's my new word right now. It was a very subtle type of lack. And I didn't know. I thought it was my fault. Because let's say that I got, you know, beaten by the horsewhip because I didn't feed the horses properly. I knew I did wrong. Like, I knew I wasn't doing that chore properly, but I still always thought that it was weird that he chose that form of discipline, you know. I was very aware of it. So anytime I ever did any type of therapy, it was always focused on that caregiver's behavior, and I never focused on the neglect caregiver's behavior until recently.
Yes.
And it's all resurfacing and coming up, and it can cause a lot of emotions and a lot of, you know, but I'm still functional, but it's still coming up. And so again, we can talk more about that, but I just think that is so important. And some people have all kinds, we all have our own stories.
Yes.
And when we're free from all substances and we don't have anything to go to run and hide, it comes up. It naturally just surfaces. It does.
Yeah.
And you got to deal. You got to deal.
That's so cool. And I have been like, I have been now realizing about my childhood many things that maybe I wasn't getting that love when I was a baby, or that I know now that's why I have certain behaviors. I tell you one in this because we can do that another video more about that neglecting and about childhood trauma and stuff. But it can show like all my old behaviors. Like usually I always think that if I did something, I was bad, because I was always tell that you are a bad girl when you do this, you're a bad girl, or I felt that I was never enough. So when I grow up, if I, for example, have a fear of driving, I just deal with it. I don't drive anymore. I didn't. That was my deal. Like or if I was having in a relationship, I rather stayed with then one night stands. Of course, there is more about that now. I believe in Jesus, all that it changed. But anyway, that was my behavior, because I never felt safe with humans, never. So I was my own protector, kind of. I needed to keep myself safe, so I let everything behind, like everything. If somebody was blaming me, that was like if I would try to like trust my parents, I know that will blame me. So then I didn't trust humans. So like now I can work on these behaviors, and when I feel more safe, my nervous system is more safe, because drugs also can be a kind of part of that coping skill. They numb you, they suppress you in that sense. So that's why we have to understand people with drugs, even in the street drugs. There is always story behind that, always.
And what I think is interesting is that, let's say that we never went to substances.
Yes.
Were you done? Were you finished? I'm sorry.
Yeah, so I only want to say that thing is not like when your post-acute withdrawals are done, and if you do have it, some people doesn't have this. Some people have really safe environment. They raised with a happy kids. They have lovely parents. Some don't. Okay, but anyway, trauma doesn't mean that you're gonna be like this for all of your life. Your body can rewire it, and those behaviors can be changed when you start to really like notice him. Then you start to feel those emotions. Those, if you felt unsafe, you'll cry, you let those emotions out. I did a lot of that TRE, that shaking, trauma releasing exercise, but nothing when I was on caffeine worked. I had to quit caffeine and be free from all mind altering drugs, so my nervous system could heal. And now with this new rewired nervous system, I can also start to rewire those old behaviors. So now if I'm scared for the driving, I'm not. But if I would be, I still gonna keep driving and not just be like, oh, I'm a bad girl, I have this, I cannot do anything, or, you know. And maybe one day I even start to trust humans, who knows?
Oh yeah, more. For sure you will. Because you're gonna feel safe, so safe and secure, right? I think. I mean, that makes sense.
Yes. More and more.
So what you were sort of back up about.
Yeah, and there's comment. Okay, let's take your comments.
Let's do the comment. Yeah.
Okay, so Jaakko say it's so frustrating when your friend who is a caffeine addict is telling you about their sleeping problems, and when you suggest it's because of caffeine, they don't believe you. Yes. Yeah. And then you say, hello ladies, it's so nice that your difficult journey has come to end. You are really strong personalities. Yes, thank you. We got this! We did this! I'm just so excited, I don't know. You feel excited when this is over, I can tell you.
And I feel so close, I get it. I'm so grateful that you are, because I've seen your journey for 3 years now. This month has been 3. I think actually March is when we started talking.
Yep.
Sharing 3 years ago, and we were already almost 2 years. Well, you were pretty much getting to 2 years, and I was almost 2 years in June. So to back up about just the post-acute withdrawal part of it and substances, and not having certain people having certain wounds, how I know someone who didn't have the same type of wounds at all, had a pretty good childhood, started consuming caffeine later in life, and went through 5 years of just the post-acute withdrawal rewiring.
Yep. This is so important, because then they can think, oh, that girl is traumatized. That's because she had a childhood trauma. No, there is other people who haven't never childhood trauma. Not any other drugs. It took 5 years.
Yes. So I wanted to clarify that, because when I'm talking about my experience, I know others have it. There's a whole lot of like, well, why does this happen to some people and not everybody? But that person didn't have the wounds. So I think sometimes when we're recovering, we want to think it's the wounds.
Yeah.
And it's not that part of it isn't the wounds. It's just that the wounds come up and then they feel bad, and then you could relapse, because that's what happened in the whole first place. We went to the drug.
Yeah.
Because as our brains are developed. So that's important to say that, because I'm not discrediting this toxin, when I
Yeah.
say that. I'm just saying that there are
Yeah.
nervous system adaptations, but you can still be functional, if that makes sense. And
Yeah.
and this is what leads me to what I'm going to say here. So let's just say we all have our different wounds growing up. Some are more mild, some aren't, and we're functional. And then we don't, and I know we've talked about this before, and we don't go to substances.
Yeah.
Then as we're maturing and our brain is developing, because it takes, and our nervous system is developing, it can take up to 25, 30 years. Let's just say no one goes to substances. Then that person is most likely just going to naturally release all of those wounds, and it's just going to kind of happen. And but the fact that most of us do go to substances, then it can create some kind of stuck wounds or whatever. But that's its own, I really do believe that's its own kind of recovery, kind of like where we are now. That's so different from the thousand symptoms you just mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
That's the dysregulation from the substance, and the
Yeah.
body adapting to the substance, us quitting, and the brain thinks it needs it. That's what causes the anxiety. We talk about that in so many other videos. So yes, the drugs do really bad things to the body, but it does adapt, called allostasis. It really thinks it needs it to survive. And it's the whole act of quitting it and going back to homeostasis is what can cause the anxiety and all the thousand symptoms under the anxiety umbrella.
Yeah.
That's really what happens on a biochemical level.
Yes.
And we just have to deal with it. And then you stay free, and then your nervous system just calms and goes back to homeostasis over time. And it could be different for so many people. And so many people can be on other substances, which keeps the brain in that active. It keeps that brain going, oh, she's on something. But if
Yes.
you're free from all life altering substances, then it has to completely rewire to homeostasis without any drugs. So there's no buffer.
Yeah, and
That's really
you
huge.
don't like mess up with the dopamine with any because if you
Yeah.
smoke cigarettes, you take weed,
Right.
or maybe you are
Yeah.
some kind of anxiety pills, or even some supplements can cause you harm, or many people can have reactions. So you know that I don't recommend them or take them. I don't take anything. So that's why it's just important information that if you do have something to mess up the dopamine, then your journey can be different. Also, not everyone does fall off the mountain have the total like the crash, or for us we did cold turkey, we didn't know, we did kind of crash, we have that falling off the mountain like you said. Not everyone will fall off the mountain, but if you do fall off the mountain and you have high anxiety and these symptoms, you have to know that that is the rewiring. It is healing.
Yes, it is. It is the homeostasis, the rewiring, the new wiring.
New wiring.
There's a question.
Okay, so yes. Should
That's a
we
good
quit
question.
one thing at a time? Very good question. You go first. You go first.
I think that, I mean, does it depend on age? It's not like we're being rushed for time, but
Yes.
with our ages. But I just think that if you quit everything at once, just like that's kind of what we were talking about, then you don't have, and it, depending on how dependent you are, and you don't have any dopamine source coming in because your brain's not making natural dopamine, which it will start to make it, then it can be really hard. So like if somebody, you see it a lot, like if somebody quits alcohol, but they're still on caffeine, they're smoking cigarettes, they're going to AA meetings, whatever, and they're functional. They don't fall off the mountain
Yeah.
because they're getting, that's exactly what we were talking about. They're getting that dopamine from the caffeine and the cigarettes. So they're probably irritable. They're probably going through a lot of withdrawals and physical withdrawals and stuff, but they still drove to the
AA.
AA meeting or whatever, or they're going to the gym, they're working out. And that's another thing I wanted to really talk about, that workout intolerance and how you got it back.
Yeah.
But
I'm so
to keep
lucky.
answering, so good.
You're so
To
good.
keep answering this question though, so I think the most important thing is to just not quit cold turkey.
Yes.
If you have the patience and you really do get off of it, because the quitting cold turkey is what shocks the system from
Yes.
that allostatic. The drug gets adapted to the brain gets adapted to the drug, allostasis, and then you're on it. And then if you quit cold turkey, it just shocks the system because it literally thinks it needs it to survive.
And it can, cold turkey, I just also want to say, because I have seen so many cold turkeys. I was cold turkey, I didn't know. It can even be dangerous for some, like, I know the cases, but I don't want to scare anyone, but just say that if you know that you want to quit caffeine, you didn't like fall off the mountain or crash with that. We didn't know. We just end up in this journey. But if you do know, please maybe taper slowly. And especially, I was in 1,000 milligrams, more than that, and I did cold turkey. So you can only imagine how much caffeine that is, and over 1,000 milligrams a day. It's even the dangerous level anyway. But there are people who did cold turkey 1 cup a day, and it didn't end very well. So, meaning that they had high anxiety. So that's, but maybe what is your worst addiction? Maybe start with that, or like go first with that. If you have many addictions, like many heavy addictions, what is the worst maybe?
Yeah, because I in 2019 I quit alcohol, nicotine. I quit every single substance that I was playing around with except for caffeine, and I was functional. I could tell I was having a little bit of anxiety, like when I would drive, I feel like somebody was going to hit me or something. It was very strange, but I was still driving. I was still going to work. I was still going to the gym. I just had these kind of weird. I did have some intrusive thoughts. Really ramp up and weird, but I was functional. I was.
Yes.
It wasn't until I quit. So I was already off that, relapsed on the alcohol for about 2 months, and then 2 months later quit everything. And that's when my brain was like, what? So it's so interesting when they'll tell me, I'll say, oh, I quit caffeine. They're like, oh, I quit caffeine too. And I just drink decaf, or I quit, but they're still smoking cigarettes and smoking weed. And because I'm like, oh, you quit caffeine. And then I do, I'll think like, oh, I'm not mad that they didn't fall off the mountain, but I'm like, I'll get that thought of like, well, what's wrong with me? Like, why? Why did this happen to me?
And decaf have caffeine. Remember, guys.
And it has caffeine.
Decaf.
Exactly.
There is no decaf coffee. There is no.
Yeah. So they're getting they're putting their pod in the machine and they're doing their decaf, and then they go outside and smoke a cigarette with their decaf coffee. Yeah. They're getting dopamine. Yes. They're getting dopamine. It's when you have no dopamine, and the only reason you don't have dopamine, we get into all that with when you quit, you're flat. There's a whole explanation about that. I don't want to talk about.
Yes, Yuppistar, good question. I read about adenosine and how it's found everywhere in the body, yes. And the caffeine has a major impact on adenosine. Could this be the reason why the whole body goes crazy during withdrawal? Definitely.
A big reason, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Receptors, A2A1.
Oh, I couldn't hear you. I couldn't hear you for a while. I don't know.
Okay, is it working now? Can you hear me? Maybe. Yeah. So yeah, that's so true. That is the mechanism of caffeine. It blocks the adenosine, and it's not just adenosine receptors in the brain. No, it's all over the body. So that rewiring takes a while. And you're gonna feel tired and overwhelmed, fatigued, crazy.
And that's where more anxiety comes in, because the body's never felt that tired, so it feels a threat. There's all these different threats going on. It's like it doesn't have the dopamine coming in. It's got because by blocking adenosine, that's what raises dopamine. Yeah. That's what I've read. Cocaine just goes straight to dopamine. But yeah, so the chemical, you probably already know this. Everybody probably knows this. The chemical of caffeine is almost exactly identical to the adenosine. It goes in and blocks it.
Yeah. It's almost like the caffeine cone is in the adenosine receptors. It's like the key. It fits, but it doesn't open the door. So then you never get the benefit or that. And when you are just in caffeinated years and years and years, and it takes really long time before your personality just starts to change. It's not like you are maybe 10 years of caffeine and you have different personality. That's why it's so slow, the effects of caffeine, how they change our personality and behavior and all that, because it comes slowly. But also it will really mess up that natural dopamine adenosine balance. And that's why we
big time
feel so
I get so much dopamine from the crazy, just washing dishes, like things that just felt like a drag before. I talked about that, I think, in the last video, because it's so, wow, it's so cool.
Yeah, and you have more the blood flow, because the adenosine is the most important neurotransmitters that widens the blood vessels. So that when you need the blood flow, and we know that caffeine reduces the blood flow in the brain anyway, but it activates the like fight or flight, limbic system, that part of the brain, it doesn't like, it just fires up because it's the nervous system stimulant.
Yeah, and some people are just more prone to that fight or flight. Maybe others do it later. Anyway, that doesn't really matter. But yeah, let's talk a little bit about, because if some people are arguing, even though we don't really care about that anymore, but we made a video about facts, like facts and opinion about caffeine. It is a fact that it blocks adenosine in everyone's system. If they think it affects them or not, it is a fact that you don't get deep REM sleep. It is a fact that it restricts blood flow. Like all these things, it's people aren't looking at it that way, and over time, it really can cause problems. And even if you think it is or not, but if people want to, we're not arguing anymore. We're not trying to save the world anymore. We're just putting this information out there. We're so happy to have gone through this journey and be where we are now. Yeah. And but again, let's talk a little bit more about, if you want to, or if you have something else to say. But let's just try to. I want to keep it on the track of the contrast of where you are now, Anni, and where I still am. I'm still at 40. Like I feel like I'm at 40 minutes of that baked cake.
Yes.
And let's talk about what really excites me, because I remember maybe like 6 months ago we made a video, and I think it was Chris. It was Chris or Christopher, or who else is it? 4 years? Around 4 years.
Multi-McCormick.
Is it multi-McCormick? Yeah. I always say multi-McCormick, but I don't think that's I don't know why I say multi-McCormick.
Yes.
They were saying, can you work out yet? You know, and we were like, no, not like, I was like, I can go for a walk on the beach, a lot longer of a walk than I could. And you said specifically, well, I'm not word for word in it, but you were like, you said, when I can work out, that's when I know I am pretty much completely recovered.
Yes.
And so.
Yep, I can now. And I'm so happy.
You can now.
And I will do exercise videos also in the future in my channel. Weight training and some other. But remember that that's not the measurement for everyone, because some people can work out. There are men who can work out and they still have anxiety. They still are in there 4 years, 3 years. They are working out.
Good point.
I did try workout. Like, you know, you can say, yeah, but you have those videos in your YouTube where you work out. Yeah, I did try, but I never felt normal. Like I couldn't work out without feeling weird. That's why I was writing, I can work out without feeling weird or pain or difficult. You
would get the high brain fog and the dizzy or whatever, but you would try. Like I could go dancing with my dad even last year, even like by 3.5, I was going dancing. It was hard. I had to push. I would get dizzy on the turn. I knew that wasn't normal, but I was trying.
Yeah, and my legs felt weird always. My legs were just weird, and my hips were like, there was that fight or flight going, almost like my body didn't let me move freely. That can sound weird, but that's how I felt. Like I was just really like kind of in that part disconnected. It was too much stress, kind of. Body didn't handle that yet.
Same. And so about the workout intolerance, how some, especially men, can do it. I don't know if it's because they haven't completely fallen off the mountain, or if men are just different when it comes to working out, and women, maybe because of our cycles or some type of protection.
Men can also tolerate stress more. It's like a biological change that is.
Which is so funny, because when they get sick or something, they act like big babies in the bed. I mean, I act like a baby too, but it's funny because men, sometimes, not all men. But
men flu. Oh no, we are never ditching.
Yeah, we're never making.
We are just
being married to a man.
Yay.
But I love being a baby. I want to be babied. I think it's because that might be a need. I don't know. But anyway.
Yes, me too. I would want to be babied, but we have to baby ourselves.
Sometimes we have to baby ourselves. We have to fill up our own cup. So huge. But same, like even I did plant work last, like 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I was working in the garden like 4 days in a row, lifting heavy plants, carrying the plants over, taking the plant out, putting new dirt in, picking up the heavy bag. Like that, I guess, is considered a workout, but I haven't yet tried to go to the gym and lift weights. I'm sure I could. There might be a little bit of fear maybe, because I think the first day that I started doing the plant work, I was a little bit brain foggy and dizzy, and I got a little irritated and upset, but not bad dizzy. And then it kind of went away.
Yes.
When as before, it would just stay the whole time. So I know I'm, my cake isn't completely cooked, but it is so close. And that's what's so important about this video is you can see, like, I would be told by my coach all the time. I would call and say, "Oh my God, I have this symptom, blah, 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 blah."
Yeah.
It's because you still have anxiety. That's what he would say. And I'm like, I didn't even I heard the words, okay? I heard the words coming out of his mouth, but it didn't compute because I didn't want to have the anxiety anymore. I'm like, I've already been X amount of time. And it makes where I'm at right now, for some reason, it just resonates differently. It just hits different. Maybe it's because of where you are. I just understand it more. It's like, oh, it really isn't over till it's over.
Yeah.
And like, even this whole last year, he would say, and honestly, we haven't been talking for like 2 months because I've just kind of weaned off because he told me that would happen. Like, you're not going to need me the same. You're going to be able to walk on your own at a point. And that's cool. Cause like everything he's told me has come true. And I know he told me summer 2025. He said summer. I said, oh, maybe February, March, I'm going to have, a boost of upgrade. And he was like, summer. Yeah. Now I had my moments of upgrade, but I still had my kinks as well. And everything else he told me has come true. So it's like, and then you've had what happened with you and you're upgraded over the.
Yeah.
It's almost like a bubble, right? It's just like some bubble.
Do you know what is weird? That there are some benzo videos. We know that many of you watch benzo withdrawal videos because that's how we kind of get some information about the post-acute withdrawals, because nobody really makes these videos about POFs from caffeine except us. I don't know if there's anyone else. Dr. Snipes will mention that caffeine can also cause POFs. But not like us. But anyway, there is some people also in the comments that they said it took me 5 years to be completely normal. So there is also, well, I think it's not a lot of to do with that neuronal growth with those adenosine receptors and dopamine. And if you do want, I have here a little bit science behind the adenosine. I can read that in the rest. I have made a presentation in Finnish, but I just translated it quickly in English. So maybe you understand. Do you want to hear it, or we can take it later too?
Absolutely.
Okay, so I will just read it here because... So the adenosine is that chemical compound in the brain that has this calming effect, like we know. So it promotes feelings of sleepiness and relaxation. So adenosine binds to A1 and A2A receptors in the brain and reduces neuronal activity, which helps regulate alertness and facilitates the sleep, like we know. So caffeine is competitive antagonist of adenosine receptors, meaning that it blocks adenosine from binding to these receptors. So what happens with chronic caffeine use? With long-term caffeine use, the body responds to the continuous blockage by increasing the number of adenosine receptors. The body attempts to compensate for the lack of calming messages received through these receptors, and this can lead the brain to produce more receptors, which partly explains why the stimulating effect of caffeine weakens over time and larger amounts are needed to achieve the same effect. So this chronic caffeine use can also affect the balance of adenosine and ATP metabolism, as an adenosine is a breakdown product of the ATP. If adenosine receptors are constantly blocked, it may indirectly change how ATP is used and broken down in cells. So what has happened is the changes in those receptor sensitivities. So when caffeine is used for a really long time, the number of adenosine receptors may increase and their sensitivity also may change, meaning they no longer respond to the adenosine as they normally would. So then also there is reduced sensitivity of adenosine receptors. Since the caffeine blocks adenosine receptors, the brain may begin to produce more receptors to compensate. However, these new receptors are not necessarily as sensitive as the original ones. Nobody talk about this too. As a result, body may experience ongoing fatigue and overactivity of the nervous system.
Wait, can you repeat that again? That part that you thought was...
Yeah, so... The brain
Just that
might
one
begin
part.
to produce more receptors to compensate. However, these new receptors that the brain makes are not necessarily as sensitive as the original ones. As a result, the body may experience ongoing fatigue and overactivity for the nervous system as the natural calming effect is diminished. So then, reduced sensitivity in the dopamine system, since caffeine increases dopamine release and stimulates the brain reward system, long-term use can also cause the dopamine receptors become less sensitive. This means the brain no longer responds as strongly to normal reward and pleasure signals without caffeine. When caffeine is discontinued, the brain may experience intense fatigue and lack of motivation because its dopamine system is no longer sensitive. And then, of course, if you continue to use caffeine, not only increase the numbers of adenosine receptors, but alters their sensitivity at the same time, brain dopamine system adapts to that constant stimulation. So it adapts and may lose its sensitivity. So this helps you to explain why recovering from the caffeine dependence can take time, really long time for some people, and why this adaptation process can be prolonged for others. And caffeine disrupts the normal balance between adenosine and dopamine. When it's removed, the balance will gradually returns, but it takes time because the brain is no longer sensitive to natural dopamine signals and the calming effects of adenosine. I don't know if that was good translation. I had to use translator, but some of the
Very
info
good.
for you, just
That's so important
a little brief.
to know that.
Yep.
So important.
Yeah. Yeah.
You reminded me of some stuff. What was I gonna say? As I'm listening to you and I have these headphones on, I couldn't even maybe a year ago, I couldn't have headphones on because it would be too stimulating. It was like too, now I like it because I can really hear it, but it was too much in my, I couldn't wear
Yes.
a ball cap. I couldn't wear a ball cap around my, around my eyes. I couldn't use my electric toothbrush because, we were talking about the symptoms earlier. And
Yes.
it's like that kind of stuff is really like that. Because you could say like, oh, DPDR, but like I couldn't use an electric toothbrush like that. It's all the nervous system. It was all
It
just
is.
my brain wasn't able to. So about what you read. So that's why it can take so long. But what I love about this whole thing, because we never are trying to scare anybody about
Yeah.
saying how long it's taking,
Never.
is that it's recovery. Like, and I was
Yeah.
told that when I came out of my wave, I was a little bit more functional. It wasn't complete hell, which I do want to talk about something about that. The difference in the levels of struggle and functionality in this process, because it's not for us, for me, I can talk for me too. Was not complete off the charts 10 the whole 60 months, the whole 5
Yes.
years.
Yes. Important to say that.
So important. And I was told after my big wave, I said, how long? He would never tell me how long exactly at that time. But he said, I asked him when he felt, and he gave me the year. And then I just did the math and I was like, what? 5 years? And he goes, it doesn't matter. We're not talking about time frame. I'm talking about recovery. And I remember that specifically. He wasn't getting after me, but I just remember that specifically. Okay, no matter how long it takes, we recover. Like, you don't live like this forever. And it's so true.
But of course, we wanted to know, like, I was so impatient. So for me, that when you hear those stories and I get to know those stories, some people, it took 5 years. And even that person who called me, I'm grateful. I don't know if that person never watched this video, but I'm grateful for all that updates and honesty that I have get. And also remember that, like you said, we never are trying to scare anyone. Like the sooner you're out, the happier I am. Of course, like if your journey is 3 months, amazing. If it's 1 week, amazing. But if it is
Beautiful.
5 years, that's normal too. So
or 3 or 4.
3 or 4, 2. Yeah.
because they were so happy. Because I'd say about 3.5 years, I was able to like go to the beach. I was more functional, but I just knew I wasn't complete.
Yeah.
What we've been saying lately is like completely healed. You're better, you're healing, you're more functional. But I knew, especially being off of substances and having nothing to run to and being so raw, I knew I wasn't completely healed yet, but I was better.
Yep. That's
And
why we never
so,
said. We never said. I said that I will wait, and when I am, then
yep,
I say that. Before not.
yep, you sure did. You sure did. And that's another thing too that's so important is that you can trust, because we never said, I mean, yeah, okay, you had your better moments. You
Yeah,
made that one video
I
around your
know.
16 month because you were having a good day. Like you
Yeah,
didn't know. You were
yeah.
just excited
That's
because you were
why I
having a
took it
window.
away back then, because people say that they thought that I was healed, and there was lot of comments under that video. But then after that, when I continued to update that, I still have people was no, that's like, oh, that's something wrong with that girl. But I had my story. This is my story,
Yeah,
and I know that there is others, and you can read comments. There is others, so
exactly.
I
Yeah,
just
this is
keep
for
running.
people that have fallen off. It could happen.
Yeah,
It's
have
to give
fallen off.
that information and that understanding and empathy that like if it is happening to you, you will recover. Like it's okay. And if it's not happening to you, then it doesn't resonate and you don't, then
Yeah,
it's fine.
then you're fine already. And anyway, you can
Yeah.
benefit our video. Yeah, like you can benefit anyway. I think our videos.
From the
like,
information,
yes,
just the knowledge to have that, hey, if you want to consume it, do it. But if you want to know, if you know and you're curious, then maybe wean or whatever, get more
yeah, try.
information. But drink it if you want to. We're not trying to tell anybody
No,
anymore what to do.
no, and
we were never trying to tell anybody what to do.
And completely honest, after going through all this, I have zero like want to start to argue what people are using. I know now
Yeah.
that for me, I never want to waste any of my time for that drug ever, and I hope that God give me a direction that I really want to do those things that are meant to me in life. But
It will.
but it's not gonna be arguing with people or no
No.
caffeine.
Right. Exactly. It's like, and that's such a important part of the recovery, that we just calm down, and they're coming from a place of not understanding, but we're coming from a place of understanding, and it's okay
Yeah.
to just let them have their opinion. And that takes growth. That takes time too to
It
get
does.
there, because we wanted to argue. We wanted to,
Yes.
tell our part. But what's the point? And I was told this, and I'm seeing it in you, I'm seeing it in myself, that we don't want to spend our energy on that. We want to spend energy on other things.
Yeah.
And that doesn't align with us now to try to convince people of anything.
No,
We're letting go, because
and it got people will irritate. It's not the way. It's just like we share information, and those who will want and find that information, and they can benefit that. It's
right.
like that.
Yeah.
That way we can
Yeah.
help people.
Yeah, I think I saw it with me, especially like let's say my in-laws or whatever. It's just that control that and I'm like, well, wait a minute, I'm acting exactly like them. Like I have a control issue. Not that I was beating myself up, I was having compassion. It's like I wanted to dig. Why is this creating something in me? Why is this creating frustration in me? And it was like, oh, I just have a little bit of control. Well, why did I have control? Because like you said earlier, it made perfect sense when you were just focusing on yourself and doing whatever you wanted to do. That was your way of controlling, because you didn't have that when you were younger.
Yeah.
And so you were your own boss. But it's also like I'm going to control every situation, but we can't control others around us. We can only control our own. I think that's about maturing and becoming secure, and that takes time. And our brains, what do we talk about all the time? We are getting this second chance, and our brains being free from substances, we really are developing the way we should have the first time if we wouldn't have been on the substances. We are really
we are growing up. I'm growing up.
We're
over
growing
40
up.
over 40s, you over 40s are growing up, and sometimes we feel like a baby still, because we were on drugs so long time that our brain didn't develop in the way that it should. Now it should develop.
And now it is.
It is.
I see it all the time, where I'm becoming so much more mature and secure, confident, self-loving. And when I really see it, when I'm hanging out with people that have the same behaviors that I'm healing from. It really stands out of like, oh, that's how I used to be, or that's what I'm healing from. You start to see it like so clearly.
Yes. And I'm so happy that I meet you, Mandy. Without this journey, I wouldn't have met you. It's so important to
Yeah,
me. I'm just so like happy,
same.
grateful, excited to that I have
Me
been
too.
become your friend and then also
I know.
making this work. Like,
Yeah, so cool.
oh,
And that's what life's about, love, connection. And I think when we're dysregulated, that's when we start to want to argue and fight because it builds some type of adrenaline. We're exhausted. So then we get adrenaline from it, or it takes our mind off of everything.
that's Richard. Hi, Richard. Active addicts don't like being told that the caffeine they use is harmful drug. They usually get very defensive. I
We've
know.
noticed that.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, very true. Thank you for that. That's
No,
really
don't
true.
make this kind of channel. Okay, but yeah, this is already done, so can't help it that people will sometimes argue. That sounds like a bad joke. 5 years of withdrawal because of a drink that 90% of people drink, but unfortunately, it's the sad truth. Yeah, that's like
And
it sounds like a big joke, really. Like 5 years caffeine withdrawal. Like what the? But when I have been doing this, helping people of fall off the mountain, it's not a joke when you face people with all these symptoms, suicidal thoughts, not leaving the house, panicking. It's something that really like
Yeah.
giving me also a new perspective how the real mental illness can be that I never knew
Yeah.
without this
That
journey.
stress response. Like we weren't supposed to be like, if you think about it, because I like to, go back to ancestral, I always say this, or tribal days. People weren't consuming tons and tons of substances,
No.
and they were doing more groundedness and connection, and like the whole tribe was raising the children, and there's a whole thing about that. And dysregulated parents are raising children, and then they become dysregulated. But again,
Yeah.
that's different than just the substance use. But yeah, just the fact that why, like, it's like, why, but why does it take so long? Like, why? And it's like the brain and body just wasn't supposed to be on a substance. But how
Yeah.
cool is it that even though we weren't, because you're not supposed to do drugs every day. Like, if people
No.
do substances, even like benzos, they talk about that. Like, you're only supposed to take it like one time for like I mean, you don't even need it. I mean, people never even need it even one time, but for when it is prescribed, they're saying that, for that one plane ride. But it's like, but why are you having anxiety on the plane ride? Is it all the caffeine you're on? We talked about that a lot. Like, what's causing you to have the plane anxiety? But for that to need the benzo in the first place, but to be even on caffeine, like it's only supposed to be done because there's lots of drugs that, back in, rituals with like Indian culture and stuff where they did things to see paths, but you
Yeah.
did it like very ritually and very, I'm not saying that that's good to do either, but I'm just saying it wasn't every day, every day,
Yeah.
every day, every day consuming a substance that messes up your nervous system. So in modern times, we're consuming it, we get adapted, and then the nervous system freaks out or whatever it does, gets dysregulated, and then it taking years for so many different factors to
Yeah.
heal. Like, thank goodness we even like get that
But
opportunity to heal.
yeah, because so many are like they even okay, I did
Uh-oh.
your picture. Oh my god. No, don't worry. I will get you back. Can you hear my voice? Yeah, there you are.
There you are.
Okay. So yeah, so anyway, like caffeine goes through the placenta. So babies can have caffeine withdrawals, and babies doesn't have the enzyme that breaks down caffeine. So that's why they can also have the sleep apnea because they're having caffeine withdrawals. But the nurses and doctors give babies caffeine because it fixes the apnea because they don't get it. It's actually the caffeine withdrawals that babies are. And babies have also dead because of that. So it's not like if somebody thinks that, yeah, but not small baby gonna have a caffeine withdrawal. Actually, yes, it can. And that's why it's so like difficult to understand that caffeine is kind of it's so normal. It have the culture and history, and I can make maybe one day I make more video about that how caffeine is spread all over the world and stuff if you are interested. But like it's like so widely used that it have, because it's also a mutagen, so it changed your DNA structure. It have changed the genetic structure of the DNA of the human population already really long time, years and years and hundreds of years. So we don't even really know what kind of society we would have without the caffeine. Of course, I know there's others, because people are always there. Yeah, there are injections. I have to speak about those. There are a lot of like vaccines, a lot of others too, but nobody really like want to break down this caffeine stuff, how big issue it really is.
Yeah.
So you can be addicted to childhood, to like the baby to childhood.
Yeah. So then, okay, you're addicted. Then if you're breastfeeding and then your mother's drinking caffeine, you get it through the breast milk.
Yes.
And then you go through the trauma wounds, what we're talking about, you're already on the substance in your body. And so then you're being, maybe you see things, maybe your mother isn't neglecting you like you think completely. I mean, maybe so, but I'm just saying, like, if you're on the substance as a baby like that, because of it was through the placenta and then from being breastfed, it's in your body. It's affecting you. It's affecting you badly.
Yeah.
Negatively affecting. And then
it can cause autism. It can cause all kind of developmental disorders, ADHD, ADD.
Yeah, I mean, it's not only a central nervous system stimulant, it's a neurotoxin. I mean, of course, it's affecting the nerves and the brain. The brain is the nerve, like the nervous system is the brain. So when I talk about tribal times and you think about things like, I like to think of it like with our periods and stuff. Like, I don't think women back in the day had heavy periods because they weren't able to like bleed all over themselves, stuff like that. So then it makes sense that, like you said, it goes through the placenta. So in modern times, the babies are colicky and they're crying and they're just, wow. I don't think back in tribal days, babies were crying a lot like that. Think about it, because then that would cause more attention and cause, like, everything's about survival. And we were very vulnerable back then. We didn't have forts, and I mean, the people just had their little huts and stuff. And so it makes sense that babies probably didn't cry as much, because then that could cause some type of, predator to find them or whatever.
Yeah, and also time before vaccines too, and like time before vaccines and caffeine, like what kind of like world would be?
Yeah, all the things, all the stressors of modern times, all the stressors,
yes, all
included, all of them. And I bet you things were just so different back then. Just like I said, the period, this and that. If you really think about it, so different now.
Yeah. So,
but you want to do just a little bit more comparison stuff?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll say where I am. So in my bad moments, I won't say bad. In my challenging, in my more challenging moments, I have brain fog sometimes, but sometimes I'm like, I'm the last to know. I'm like, wait a minute, I've been feeling brain fog. Yeah. That there is a time where I thought the brain fog will never go away for me. Seriously, like I'm just gonna have to live it forever.
I thought I was damaged.
Yeah, and I'm just like, okay, it's just something. I'm functional. I can do the things. What else? Like last night, I slept all the way through, which is awesome. So that's a positive. My digestion is a little bit funky again lately, when it was for about a year and a half, just awesome. But sometimes I do wake up in the middle of the night for like an hour, but I just lay there and I go back to sleep. Yeah. What else? What else do I have? You know me. Oh, pain, hip pain. Oh my gosh. Sometimes I'm like, I'm older. I'm 46. I got my left knee kind of hurting. Is that old wounds, injuries coming up? Because if old emotional wounds can come up, can old injuries come up?
Can.
And there's a part of me that's like, is this part of recovery still? I think so. But then there's this part of the
Yes.
doubt that anxiety causes that might be, um, it might just be I'm broken. No, I'm not broken. I just mean I have some kind of body injury. I don't know. But
Symptoms
and
are
compared
always healing.
exactly. So even if it is some type of old age or injury, okay, yeah, it's resurfacing to heal. Like that's what I'm saying. Like that's see, if you talk about it and you really think about it, it's like, well, wait a minute, I am healing, and
Yeah.
my intrusive thoughts, are better, gone for now. Um, I do still get blahness,
Yeah.
like depression, and I don't
Yes.
even know. I think that there's times where I don't even know what it is. Like I don't even think it's depression. I'm just like, mm. And I'm more motivated, yes, and I feel like I have more purpose, but sometimes I'll just feel this feeling and it's heavy. And then like you were talking about the behind the eyes thing, and
Yeah.
I have that sometimes. And I know that it's still part of the recovery. My cake is at 40 minutes, not 45.
It's not, but it will so soon, and
Yeah.
I'm so excited. Hey, can I share about one of your friends that she did also? I don't say names, but she did also have
Yeah.
that one little hump wave. Like I had that 1 week
Yes.
depression. So that also, and we have read about it that others people can have that. Like before your brain gets to normal, there can be a short wave. I don't know how long it's lasts individual, but it's not gonna
Right.
be probably long. Like for me it was like a deep depression, like a week. Like it really felt
Mm.
like my brain was the last time my brain was trying to like test some old neural pathways or whatever, and I was
Yeah.
like, wow, this, what is this? But then after that it was like, okay, yeah, I'm
You
not
were upgraded.
I'm upgrade. Yes. Like
Because
great.
I haven't had, yeah, you were just there and I
Yeah.
saw it. I saw it all in real time. And I'm a believer just from seeing your experience, even if it takes me longer. But yeah, I haven't had the deep, deep, deep depression since the wave. So that
Mm.
was September, October of this year will be 3 years. But I am anticipating to have one because I can tell I still have, some percentage to go. And that's going to put me over the hump. So that's why this video is so huge today. We're
Yes.
talking about other stuff that's really good. But I just wanted to see that contrast of like where I am now, that I still have 2.5 more months, where you are now, that you'll be at 5 years next week. And what's really interesting is that the person we're talking about, she had that week wave a month before her 5 year. And I
Yeah.
think you were a month away. You came out of your wave about 3 weeks ago, a month ago, 3 weeks
Yeah.
ago.
Yes. About
And
three
and it's
weeks
been
ago.
consistent. It's been good. Well, you never had consistent before. You would have good day,
No,
bad
no, no,
day.
no, not like this. Like I wasn't normal. I wasn't like normal, back to normal, like
Yeah.
completely normal,
Yeah.
without any symptoms.
Yeah. And I'll tell everybody watching and the people that are going to watch in the future, like when we talk on our own privately, because the last 3 years that we've been talking, we have gone back and forth
Yeah.
with our things. And just this last 3 weeks, after 3 years, it's been you've been my cheerleader, and it's so great. And I just see a difference in you. I see 100 complete difference. That it's consistent. You're just different. I don't know what it's like to be completely on the other side, but I'm so close. Like, so that's why this is so important, because if and when I do have, I'm sure I'm going to, because we always talk about that. The waves are for the upgrade. That's the resistance.
Yep.
And when you get through it, you stay free from the substances. You don't relieve it with any pills or substances. You make it through, then you're upgraded. And so I know I need it to get upgraded, but I'm okay. I'm okay.
I
So
will
when
guide you through, even if it would be
and you
three
will
days
guide
or a
me.
week. I will help you.
Yeah. And you'll guide me. And then if I'm brave enough to make a video, probably not. Not that I'm brave enough, but like I just
It's
probably won't
just
want
not
to.
so nice to like, if like I can tell when
No.
I was in a tsunami we made those videos. If I have a choice now, maybe I wouldn't have made those, but it's brave to make videos when you have a hell of a lot of symptoms. Like, it's not fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Or just the fact of, okay, I'm here where I am now. You're where you are. We'll wait until I am where you are.
I think so. Yeah. We wait.
And then we'll be able to see the true contrast. So like this is the contrast of like right there at the finish line. And there's another good analogy. If you're a runner, if anybody knows anyone who runs marathons, they always say like the last 2 to 6 miles is the hardest.
Yes.
So this is hard in its own way for me, challenging in its own way, but it's also, I know where I'm so upgraded, just if I didn't know any better, I would just think this was my life and I'm just functional. I'd probably go do all the things. Like I just babysat for another couple, their dog. And I went out to eat with my best friend one day for lunch and we went and looked at plants. Just as functional as can be. And that's another thing too. I think like in the last, I'd say year and a half, and the more and more and more I got to this area where I'm at, when I do get in the shower, get dressed, get out and about, I call it pushing myself. Then I'm out of, I'm like, I'm normal in somewhat, but I have to kind of push to get there. When I think that when you're on the other side, there's no more pushing, but before a year and a half ago, if I tried to push, it didn't matter because I get more dopamine because you get more dopamine now.
Hey, and yeah, and one important thing also that many of us, when we go through withdrawals, nothing our like those coping mechanisms that we used to maybe have in addiction, they didn't work. Like you didn't get that good feeling in the exercise, or that didn't last, or maybe you did crash later, or you did maybe try to breathe, deep breathing, that didn't work either, or you could walk, you were dizzy. Now, when you recover, those things becomes your blessed, like those things that like I can exercise, I'm so excited, happy, I can eat healthy food, or I can have pizza. I just had a pizza because it took hours to get here. I can eat pizza, but I want to eat healthy mostly, like, but we don't need, like, we can eat food. I can eat whatever food, but I still want to keep healthy because that's kind of like my thing. Because you get energy from the food. You don't need drugs.
Yeah.
You get energy from the food, and then when you sleep, you are pretty fine. You are good. Rest. But then also you have to remember that you still have normal bad days. If somebody dies, or if you get in the accident, you are not like, oh, I'm not gonna feel anything. Like, of course you're gonna feel things, but it's not anything like the withdrawals. You get over.
And that's what my coach used to say. You never said that before. And now you're saying that on the other side because you feel it differently. And my coach used to say that.
Yes. Like you're gonna like what is
you have
that?
Control.
Control.
You have more control because the anxiety strips you. It strips you from everything.
Yeah, it's, let's say that, okay, I would have a like normal bad day that I maybe would have some kind of struggle with work or whatever that normal people can have. Then somebody would say me, Anni, hey, let's go run, or let's go ride a bicycle. I was like, okay, let's go. And then that goes there. Like that's, you are able to change your focus where you want when you are normal, when your brain works.
Yeah, and that's true for around like 4 years. If somebody were like, hey, let's go on a vacation, I'll pay for all trips, all expenses paid. I'm like, let's back it up. I mean, I could. I could. I was like, okay, when are we going? But I'd probably be like, I would have been like still symptomatic, but functioning through I just couldn't. Yes. Like I don't know if it was because of all the coaching I was getting, but I would still feel the symptoms.
Yeah, I could go, but I always say that why to go if I have blahness or like.
Right. And I would just do it. Like, okay, my dad would say for his birthday, like, let's go to the dance. And I would go and I would feel so many symptoms, but I could do it.
Yeah.
I was just determined that if I had that ability, and that's another thing, because like that's where you and I were a little bit different. And
yes,
that's, I think, what my coach was talking about for the longest time. He's like, and this is what's so important, like somebody can be at 3 years and still have a little depression, but it doesn't bother them for some reason. Like the depression symptom compared to, like, let's say both people have depression and DPDR. Both people have both. Well, one person, the depression is going to bother them more, and the other person, the DPDR is going to bother them more for whatever reason. And um, like certain things just didn't. They were there, but I could override them because I was
Yeah.
like a little bit more dopamine. I could override some things. I just couldn't. Sometimes, some
Yeah.
days I was like, I'm on the couch. I can't do anything. I don't want to. I'm just not. And then on those days, I was like, I'm never gonna, I've been feeling
Yeah.
this when it was only like one
Yeah.
day, like
Yeah.
your brain thinks it's been for months.
So good that you told that. We can start to put this in the end soon.
Yes.
But it's really important to know that when you have that bad moment or bad day, it really depends. Some people don't have windows like we have the windows for moments. Some people it's more maybe constant. But you still, I think you still have some windows when you go further. Many people still start to have
Yeah.
windows when you go further, but it's not the linear, the healing. But you have to remember that when you have the bad wave or bad moment, it feels like forever, and you forget all the good.
It does.
Usually,
Yeah, that's what
anxiety
I'm
works
saying.
like
It's
that.
like, I've been in the.
Like you
It
start to like
does.
ramble. Oh my God, this is I felt so amazing. What happened to me? What I did took?
Yeah.
You didn't took anything. Oh, what I did do wrong?
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
just happens. It's
And
not
then you think
linear.
I've been feeling this way the whole time. It's like, no, you are. Then I look through messages or something. It's like and we've talked about that so many times. Anxiety lies to you. It just
Anxiety lies
does.
so much.
And the other good thing, kind of what we were talking about earlier about still getting drizzled on, or like in the beginning, getting completely in the storm, getting completely rained on. When you're still getting drizzled on, you're still getting wet, but it's lighter. It's easier a little bit,
Yeah.
but you're not out. Your cake is not baked.
Okay, and I also want to say my periods now. So I can get around my period moody. Don't get me wrong. Like like we can have moodiness, meaning that it's normal that women's cycle when it goes every time we have the same. Like we have the ovulation, we have the periods, we have the luteal follicular phases. It's normal that those hormonal changes happening, but when your hormones are balanced, it's not like you are taken away with those emotions. You can feel a little bit irritability, but when you go to the walk, it actually helps you. Or if you do some breathing, it actually helps. Or for me, I read the Bible. I can connect with God throughout the word. But when I have withdrawals, nothing worked. Like it was just anxiety taking away from me.
Yeah, because see, it's different because you brought that up earlier about how the deep breathing couldn't. And now I take a deep breath and it's so relaxing. It's more
Yeah.
relaxing than ever before. But when I did before I crashed and I had PMS, I would always say, okay, go for a walk. No, I don't want to go for a walk. Well, then
Yeah.
I'd go for a walk. I always felt better afterwards. But in withdrawal, I couldn't even go for a walk really. Like,
No,
so nothing works.
when you don't have dopamine, when you have depression, it's like some people can say you, Anni, let's go. You're just lazy, or this will make your mood better. But
Yeah,
if
no.
you don't have the dopamine, if you don't have that, or the dopamine is still ups and downs,
Yeah,
it's not.
it doesn't
It's not
work. It doesn't.
It
It doesn't connect.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I still get moodies, and I also think our periods are there as a sign to tell us what our cup, where we need to fill up our own cup, and then we might feel like, for me, I think like it's my husband's job to do it, or I need something from him. When lately I've been like, okay, how can I fill it up completely? So it's like I was starting to think, okay, our periods are the time for this sign to show us what we're lacking.
Yes.
Okay, what I'm lacking is this, this, this. It's his job. But now, and I know I'm repeating myself, but now I really, okay, I feel the lack, but it's coming from me still. Like I can feel it. That's huge. But it is showing me. I think it is there to show us what we are lacking.
Let's say that you have been free from post-acute withdrawals already years, and then you have a really stressful life issue. Somebody dies, or you maybe have an accident. Your period's gonna show you still, like that's our, for us women's, kind of a blessing that our period we gonna detox stuff, old emotions and behaviors.
Yeah, it's our guide. It's a guide.
It's a guide, yeah.
But also, I think being free from a substance that does raise stress hormones, we are able to handle other stressors better.
Yes.
Which is cool. We can navigate. It's still going to be hard, challenging, but you navigate around it. Do we have time? Does anybody have questions? There's 10 people watching.
Yes. Let's take questions now. And by the way, guys, you can also like put some comments under this video, so Mandy also can then see the comments and answer, and I also can answer if you have any, because this is kind of my 5 years update now, and you're 2 months behind. And we will of course change the name of the video now. Anni 5 years, Mandy 4 and 10 months.
I'm like that racehorse right behind you trying to catch up.
Yeah, you are amazing. So now put some questions. Did you have anything other in mind?
Does this help? I mean, does this information, as we're doing this contrast video, does it make sense to people? Does it resonate? Does it help?
Yes, we would love to know what you and overall how you have been liking this our journey. Kind of, is this been helpful? I know that many of you have been sending a lot of nice comments and you have been in the chat, but we would like to know if there is more people who have been liking or whatever. Like, you can say that what kind of like.
And if they don't, I mean, and that's the thing. That's the cool thing. Like, if somebody doesn't like something or somebody likes something, it's still opinion. I'm really trying to work on that. Like, getting that type of yay appraisal, or like, oh yay, that makes me great.
Actually, critical things are also I can handle it now better. like you can be critical to like, that's your, and you can have your own opinion. That, of course, we are not here to we're gonna just tell how it's gonna be for everyone. Okay.
Well, because in drill team back in high school, if we got critical, what's it called? I know we got critical, what was the word? Not judgment, but it helped. It's like, it was critical information. What was it called? Critical.
Yes, like,
does anybody know what I'm talking about?
I know, but I don't know the word.
And it was a critique only to help you get
tervettä kritiikkiä in healthy critique in Finnish. Tervettä kritiikkiä, or healthy feedback, kind of.
Healthy feedback, and it was positive criticism or something like that. It was a specific way we said it, but it was, if your high kick was bent or whatever, it was that feedback was there to help you.
Yes, sweet joy. I am 5 weeks caffeine-free. I feel like I'm gaining weight. Congrats first of all, and it's very normal, don't worry.
Weight loss, weight gain.
All normal, all normal. Yes, Tuula. Yes, thank you, Tuula. So it's nice to know that these have been helping. 2 years and 3 months of withdrawal for me. Yes, Jaakko have been with us long time. Yay, so good.
Constructive feedback. Constructive criticism. Yes, constructive is what I was looking for. Thank you.
How did you quit? Quit by accident, cold turkey, which was the worst decision ever. I don't recommend it.
We quit cold turkey.
Cold turkey. Yeah, I didn't know. I would never have done that.
Most of us don't know.
Don't recommend it. Yeah. I didn't know. Never know even that caffeine was a drug. So.
Right. It's like, well, I kind of did. Because my mom and I were caffeine addicts together, caffeine consumers together. I don't want to say addicts, but because it's just a behavior. Addiction is a behavior. But anyway, that's kind of my
we're Finnish people. We are so, I don't know. We're just so caffeinated.
I don't know why.
Oh my god!
I just want that. That's not a terminology of like it's just a behavior.
Mm-hmm.
You can call it an addict, totally, if you want.
Yeah. But cold turkey.
I wanted to just, because I said I was going to, about how it's not complete awfulness the whole 5 years. So
Anni, how do you know you are truly now free of caffeine? Well, I know I don't take any. I don't drink coffee. I don't consume any caffeine, any chocolate, anything. I always check the labels. I make food by myself mostly. That is really important to me, and use very natural ingredients. I drink only water and raw milk. So I'm very strict. I have been very strict that I don't take anything. And that's because I had so hard journey. There is never, ever even possibility to me go back. So
did they mean, how do you know you're truly free from caffeine or truly free from the recovery?
Maybe. Yeah, maybe you mean that. Maybe you mean that how I know I'm free from recovery, because I just feel normal. I feel so good. All my symptoms are gone. I have amazing energy. Wait a second, I will get you back. Can you?
You went away, but I can see myself clear.
Yeah, I put you back. Don't worry. So
and I have blueberries.
So yes, I really just know, because how I feel. I have symptoms are gone, and because there are so many others who had the same timeline, and I don't feel it. I just feel you just know. You just know. I can tell you.
You got that consistent dopamine going on.
Yes,
or something.
The dopamine comes back. Your health comes back. Your energy comes back. Like I haven't had this energy since I was a kid. Like when I was caffeine, I was so stimulated.
What about your pain in your neck that you used to have?
Gone.
Like that pain.
That's gone.
Crazy. That's so cool. I still have it. Like, I have it right now.
It take 5 years.
But I'm used to it, like I'm functional. I'm used to it.
But like I said, I don't have to, after this, I don't have to do anymore this. Like this was my journey, and I have been brave to share this, and people take it or leave it, but it's not like, I'm just grateful for God.
Absolutely. Amen. My husband the other day was like, God, but 5 years of your life. And I was like, it's okay. I'm in recovery. Like I'm free from substances.
Yes.
It's okay. I was like, it's okay.
Marko Yläarotila, first time listening you, very much needed information and insights for caffeine quitters. Few years ago I had a 15 months caffeine-free life, and it was the best time of my adult life. Yes. Yay. Thank you. Happy to hear.
And then you went back.
Did you went back?
Hear... Yeah.
So Jakob, I will put you back in a minute. Finnish tabloids have at least one article every week tells you about the amazing health benefits of coffee. Yes, we know what that's about. What if it was Jesus who gave you the energy through Santo Spirito? No, that wasn't that, because I have said this in my testimony, that even I was saved by Jesus, and that is my story. That is, of course, Jesus have done a lot of inside me, but this caffeine withdrawal are real. There are many other believers in Christ and newborn Christ that they still have to, Mandy too, and they still have to go through these withdrawals. That for me, even I do believe in Jesus, and I have given my life to Jesus. I have to say that Jesus didn't take away my caffeine withdrawals. Even then, the last summer when I were saved, I still had a lot of symptoms, and that you can probably see that in those my videos also.
Because it's flesh, like what we did with caffeine.
It was flesh, and like your teacher or coach, whatever, said to you, like we can pray as much as we want, but addiction. This is something that people have to still see, that addiction is something that I did to myself. And I cannot blame God or anyone or my dad or my mom or Mandy or anyone to that. That is something that was in my flesh. Same with porn addiction, alcohol, many.
And what we talk about a lot, like we're not blaming ourselves even. We were doing it to try to just escape. That's why we were talking about the childhood wounds. We were just... It's nothing bad about it. We're not bad people. We were just trying to not feel bad.
But that's
trying to escape. We didn't know.
Yeah, and I'm every day grateful for God. Even this whole, like, Absolutely. There is a book of Job in the Bible. You can read that. Like the Job was really much like tested by God. God led to Satan tested Job, but it still like didn't let Satan kill him. So sometimes we have to go struggles in life. And that
the struggle makes us stronger. It makes us
stronger. It's the plan. So that's how I believe. Like,
yes.
Finnish tabloids have at least. I read that. I was thinking in the other day about Cato, and he said you just keep improving in ways you didn't even expect. I just recently started to get my humor back. Hi, Chris. Yes, I'm back on coffee. It's so hard to avoid. It's crazy world. Yes, so true, Marco. I mean, Jesus gives the true strength to quit. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Jesus as a God. Yep.
I said that in my in our Valentine video at the end. Like he gives us the strength and the grace to get through this. But maybe he can make it go away. like that.
Yeah, for
people,
some.
But what would we have learned? What would we have learned?
I wouldn't learn nothing. I would have gone back. I'm so stubborn.
I'm so glad that this happened in the weird way, because we learned about the body, we learned about ourselves, we learned about recovery, and we do heal. It just takes time, but that's okay. The time's going to go by anyway. I'd rather be free. I'd rather be recovering and kind of suffering in recovery, even though it's not all the way suffering, struggling, and be free from substances, because what was the alternative? I would have stayed on them.
Yeah, sometimes I think that God maybe he knows that I'm a stubborn girl, so that I needed to go this like
I'm stubborn too.
Yeah, like
like, hello.
And I also think that there is a meaning what we do in life, so this was my work to do for others.
Do you mind if I read kind of how it went for me?
Yes,
if it makes sense.
Of course.
Talked about having issues with histamine issues while healing. I feel like, that's so cool, Chris. Sometimes we forget certain things. I don't feel like I have histamine issues anymore.
Yeah.
But if you were to, it's because I don't know how long you've been, if you've been watching the whole video, but
yeah, are you about the 4 years?
Yeah, Chris is I think he's 1 year behind me. He's almost 4, I think.
Yep.
But you're gonna that's what we've been talking about. Your cake is not baked. If it takes 45 minutes to bake a cake and you're at 40 minutes, it still needs 5 more minutes to bake. Like this isn't over until it's completely over. So you'll have whatever symptom possibly, even if it's light, all the way until like Anni, now she's on the other side. Complete healing. So, but yeah, that's interesting, because I used to drink my smoothie and I put avocado in my smoothies because Chris knows I was carnivore, and I'm not. I haven't been carnivore in over 2 years now. I've gained weight and stuff, but I love it.
Yeah.
Well, I know it'll all balance out, but I was very stressed on the carnivore, losing hair, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I was putting blueberries, protein powder, water, banana, avocado. And I was having kind of like a tight throat when I would consume it. And I was like, it's the avocado. I'm having histamine issues to the avocado. I haven't had that in a while, but I did, because I know it was part of the recovery.
And thank you, Nita. And God bless you too. Have a blessed evening. I go now sing and dance to Jesus. I love it. Yes.
Oh,
amen.
God bless you.
And thank you. Thank you so much for commenting.
So if that makes sense to you, Chris, if I answered, if that helps, are you still having histamine? And if you want to share kind of what you're still having,
yes,
and whatever it is that you're still having, you could possibly up and down up until complete recovery.
Yeah, 45 months. Yes. So it's...
Yes. And I'm at what, 58 and a half?
I don't even know how many months is 5 years.
60.
60. Okay.
I know that because I learned that a long time ago, because when I got my very first car, it was 60 months. It was 5 years for car payments.
Of course, it's easy to count in that way. Like,
yes. Do you mind if I read kind of how it went for me?
Yes, please.
Okay, so so speaking of 60 months, out of the 60 months, about 9 of them, 9 to 10, and none of this is consecutive. Everything's up and down. The first 4.5, and then that wave 4.5, and it was still up and down, but that was the worst of the worst. Yeah, I'm not sure if it's histamine exactly. What does it feel like?
Because
whatever it is, whatever feels off will.
I had, Chris, in that time the allergic reactions where I have those skin pimples. They came all over my body, and I thought that we have some bugs here. But it wasn't the bugs. It was some weird. Yeah, you remember I was saying that maybe we have some bugs here, and they would just keep coming and coming, and then it was just gone. It was weird. It was some kind of detoxing.
Yeah. And that was just a few months. I mean, that was like 4 months ago, 5 months ago.
5 months ago or 6 months ago or something.
Yeah,
like that.
6 months ago. So yeah, it'll all of it, Yeah. If we're getting drizzled on.
Yeah.
Okay, so like out of the full 60 months, about 9 to 10 were off the charts, completely unlivable. Like that's when we would say like no one could live this way.
Yes.
The first 4.5 months, and then the other wave around 2.5 years in, Then I had about 25 months where I was in the 6 to 8 range on a scale of 1 to 10. Still very hard, but not the total bottom. And that was up and down. And it was like through every month, I would have my better moments, but the total time, and it would be up to like a 6 or an 8. But I'm talking like the first 9 to 10 months, it was like off the charts 10, meaning 13. Like if you could get that high.
Yeah.
So an 8's not that bad when you're talking about a 13.
No.
But it's not fun. A 6 and an 8 is still kind of like frustrating,
Yes.
especially when you come further and further along. But then about 20 to 25 months were in the 1 to 4 range, depending on where I was in my month and my cycle or whatever, where there was more function and relief, but it was never consistent. Even during the lighter times, a good week could be followed by a rough few days.
Yes.
But overall, the dips got softer and the recovery felt more grounded, even if it wasn't perfect. And a lot of people say that, a lot of people. But that's how it looked. About 10 months were just unfreaking believable. And even the 8 but you get through it. And that resistance. Oh, we'll talk about that more when we make the other video, but the resistance is where you just keep fighting through, then you're upgraded.
And that's so cool that you shared that, because that's also talk about non-linearity of the journey. Like you just know how to put, like you could put those intense moments if you put those in the like whole months, but it wasn't like you had the beginning, the really hard, and then the tsunami.
Yeah, like I took moments and just said about 9 or 10 months, or I took the 6 to 8 moments throughout the 60 months and just placed it in. It was about, that's just kind of how my brain works. Like, that's how I saw it. Now that I'm at almost 60 months, like it wasn't what my point is for people that are just starting off or at 4 years, it's just not complete awfulness the whole time. Like you do have breaks, but even again, the breaks are, okay, I'm probably gonna feel bad tomorrow or the next day or whatever.
I think the hardest part is almost like you get the sweetest candy and you can taste it a little bit, but then it taken away. Like that's are the moments when you start to have that dopamine and the energy and the connection. Some people who like us who have the high anxiety, it's the connection is not there. Like we are disconnected from ourselves and the world. And I showed you the symptoms: depersonalization, derealization, and dissociation, and the blahness and depression. So that kind of takes away the connection. But then when you have those moments, it's like, okay, I could work. Like when you go further, you think like, I have those times that I have made plans and stuff, and then bam, I was back to wave, or next day I didn't feel like that. That's I think the hardest part in this journey was the roller coaster ride in sense.
The inconsistency is so, it's not good for anything. If you go to a restaurant and one day you go there and it's really good quality and whatever chef is there, and then you go there a week later and it's terrible. Like,
because we would want to journey like it's bad and then it get better. But if you watch any of benzo withdrawal videos, any other drug withdrawal videos, nobody says it's like that. They all say that it's non-linear, because brain doesn't work like that.
And it is getting better.
Yes.
But when it comes back and it's fighting, because like that's a really good analogy, that like you get those moments of relief and then you're like, yay. And then, well, what's happening with the anxiety? It's going and working out, trying to get stronger, because you're actually winning. But it doesn't want to let go because it really thinks you need it for survival and for protection. And so it goes out, works out, gets stronger, comes back and kind of like, and then you're like, what's wrong? And then you just stick through, you stay free from the substances. Yeah, I have breaks with short-lived. Yeah,
very normal.
And that right there that's it. Like that's how
I have to say, Chris, that I'm pretty excited when you get to the other side, because I will know what happened already. So I'll just like keep up the good work you have done. So amazing. So
true. Yeah. So
thank you for everybody. And we have gone almost 2 hours. I think this is a good length. And like I said, we're gonna do that next video for some point in the summer, that we're gonna talk about these behaviors. and childhood ones, and that's gonna be another
it never feels like 2 hours.
Never. Now, then when we were doing in those videos when I was in my tsunami waves, I was like,
Oh gosh.
yeah,
You did good though.
No,
see, and that's the thing. Other people can't tell the anxiety. It's like this silent.
Yes.
You know.
Good point. Other people
thing.
can't really, because you can look normal, kind of normal, and that's the struggle. People message me always.
Like,
People message me like, I'm in my work, or if some people can work in this, some can't, some have to, even they kind of can't, but they say always like, this is so much struggle because no one gets me, no one gets me, like,
no,
I'm just robot functioning, like.
Even for ourselves, if you take photos of yourself and you look back, you're like, oh, I didn't look that bad.
Yes.
It wasn't that bad, because the anxiety's lying to you.
Yes. So
and for Richard, I remember when my humor came back too. I remember when I remember I was watching Seinfeld, maybe around my 2.5, 3 years somewhere. And I think it was before my wave. So it was before. And I remember laughing like I did when I was a kid. I was just like, Kramer on that show. Oh man. Or just it's just sense of humor being goofy, funny again. Yeah. It's nice.
Yes, after about 2 years, my sense of smell became very sensitive. Now I pick up every scent near me. Yes, my vision also became crystal clear, probably from the restored blood flow and nerve recovery. Yes.
Nice.
So nice. Good. Hope to see you again soon. Yes, thank you so much. Now work is completed, and we're gonna put a little bit, not laughing, I don't know if you hear these voices, Mandy, but we have been leveling up. Now level up, Annie.
And I might be going back to school.
Wow. And you will come in the teacher. Is it okay to say? Maybe?
Yeah, I don't know. Oh, you went away again, or I went away.
Yeah. So.
Did I go away, or did you go away?
You are back.
Okay. Because it just shows me, on the screen. Yeah. Well, I don't know. I just want to say I might be going back. I don't want to say exactly what yet, but because I don't know. I can do it. I can do it. One step at a time, right?
Yes. So we did great.
We did. And somewhere in the next month, I'm going to be having I don't know. I can't predict, but.
Yeah. And guys, you are important to us, and I appreciate every subscriber, every comment, all of you who have been in this journey with me, all of conversation, all the voice chats, all the message in Discord, all the message in emails, all the message in Instagram. Even I have not in Instagram anymore because I wanted to put social media kind of the minimal as possible, because I'm not anyway in the social media person anyway. So this YouTube keeps running, and just keep it up. Like, keep up the good work. And I'm still on my Discord. I haven't decided yet what I will do that, but I appreciate your comments. And yes, use that Discord. It's for you. Use that. Even I'm not always there. Use that message, share. I made it for you. It's yours. Like, of course, I will run it, but it's yours.
And we'll do more. I'll do more of an update later. Yeah.
Yes. And thank you, Mandy, my Caffeine-Free warrior friend.
Thank you.
And thank you, God. No, God comes first.
Thank you, God.
Thank you, God.
Yes.
Jesus.
Everybody, you got this. You got this.